Today is May 29th. The closing arguments concluded yesterday. In the closing arguments, Todd Blanche made the cardinal mistake of mentioning sending Donald Trump to prison during his closing argument. That is legal 101. It is basically something that pisses off everybody if it ever happens, which it rarely does, because literally it is something you were taught right out of the gate in law school. Do nots. Very, very similar to when the jury and the judge enters the courtroom and leaves the courtroom, all rise, everybody stands. These are cardinal rules of law that Trump and his team did not follow. Donald Trump did not stand up when the jury walked into the room or when the judge walked into the room. Donald Trump did not stand up when they left. That is showing disrespect across the board. That is what he did every single solitary day. And to wrap it all up, you've got the cross-examinations of Stormy Daniels relying on, so he's a good golfer. Wasn't there a lot of people around him? That was the first couple of questions out of Todd Blanche's mouth towards Stormy Daniels. And when you've got, everybody asking about Trump's golf game and whether or not he has celebrities around him rather than the substance of the trial. That was the defense's arguments. That was what they said. They still pretend to say in the closing arguments that Trump knew nothing about these payments, that these payments were legal fees, not reimbursements, when the documents 3536 flat out say reimbursements. There was an email sent up saying, how much am I getting paid from Michael Cohen directly to not only Allen Weisselberg, but Donald Trump? Just confirming how much he's getting reimbursed. There is a document that Donald Trump signed himself saying that Michael Cohen's payments were reimbursements of $35,000 a month. And then in the closing argument, they said, once again, it was not reimbursements, it was legal fees. These were all spelled out. Then it leads to the prosecution's closing arguments. The prosecution's closing arguments took 4 hours. The jury was engaged. They were paying attention. They smiled on occasion when he made a little bit of a joke as, so this didn't happen? You didn't see these documents? Those types of jokes. They were engaged with the prosecution's closing argument. They didn't even make eye contact with Donald Trump or the defense counsel. They were not engaged. They didn't care. Don't want to read into anything. Don't want to assume anything. But the bottom line is, in order to get a guilty beyond the reasonable doubt, there has to be documentation of the evidence presented. Since the defense's biggest attack and only thing they actually went after was Michael Cohen's credibility, obviously the reaction to that is it's just not about Michael Cohen. Believe him or not really doesn't matter. We have the documents. These are the documents. Here are the documents. They meticulously went through each and every document and showed what it meant. The notes written on the Exhibit 3536, flat out 2 different sets of handwriting. You've got Allen Weisselberg's handwriting right there. You've got okays by Donald Trump, and you've got the breakdown of payments. If it was legal fees, there wouldn't be any doubling the cost. If it was legal fees, it would just be a flat $130,000. Michael Cohen got paid almost $500,000 because they doubled the cost, because it would be income. That was all written out on the notes. They upped it. That was all written out on the notes. They brought in the controller that basically said Donald Trump has never done that ever. So he obviously knew. Donald Trump was the one that personally signed every check in the Trump fund, in the trust fund. Every check, so he knew. The defense's entire case rests on Donald Trump not knowing about this. That was their defense. That was it. And every which way was proven that not only did he know, but he orchestrated and he took part in every part of this. So by the evidence standards, there is more than enough evidence to prove reasonable doubt. Right now, at this very moment, the jury is deliberating those facts. They have access to all the documents. They have everything in front of them. They can look at them as many times as they want. The entire criminality of this case is that not only Donald Trump knew about it, but it was for the intention of election interference, which was proven by David Pecker, by his assistant Dylan, who sent an email saying, well, we helped this guy get in. He can pardon me when I get prosecuted for election interference. It's all there. We will see what the jury comes back with. May or may not be jail time. We don't know. But guilt was definitely established. So stay diligent, stay educated, and be kind. We are all in this together, and we all should want the evidence out, no matter who it's against. If it's factual, if it's evidence, bring it out in front of the American people. Let them decide. Just saying.